Hello, everyone. My name is Kushal Kaushik, and I'm the head of growth at Translit. Today, I want to welcome you to this webinar where we will discuss the future of multilingual events and the use of specialized event tech. We will also showcase our new event interpreting solution, Translit RSI, which can help event organizers like yourselves reduce event interpreting costs and improve event engagement. While some of you already know, for those who don't, RSI stands for Remote Simultaneous Interpreting, which replaces the traditional interpreting booth setups with a cloud-based solution and even allows interpreters and multilingual audiences to attend the events remotely. This naturally comes with a host of new opportunities, and today we will discuss them all. There has been a lot of turmoil in the event industry in the last couple of years, and things have changed significantly. After everything came to a grinding halt due to the pandemic, our industry used tech solutions to move and survive. The global pandemic was definitely a dominant feature that accelerated a shift into the adoption of event tech solutions, but it also had a positive outcome. While COVID-19 pushed event managers to adopt event tech for survival, it actually became a staple of growth for a lot of them. Most event organizers and managers have realized that relying on tech solutions can give them a huge boost in growth. Almost 74% of event planners have become more skilled in technology usage due to this experience surrounding the pandemic. Event tech has transformed how event managers work forever. Last year, one virtual event platform said that they have seen 1,000% increase in virtual events since the pandemic, with over 52,000 events and sub-events. Video conferencing platforms thrived during COVID-19, and market researcher Sensor Tower showed that combined monthly active users of Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and Google Meet was 21 times compared to the pre-pandemic level, and it's still growing exponentially. UN Leaders Summit moved away from their usual 2000 in-person event for their 20th anniversary and created a 26-hour Chasing the Sun virtual conference. This resulted in around 15,500 attendees joining them online and representing 185 countries. This was their biggest event by far. Latinas in Tech Summit broke their previous records in 2021 and saw a 300% increase with over 1,400 online attendees. And the Atlantic Festival grew their 3,000 in-person event to 37,000 registrants for their first ever online event. It was an astonishing 1,133% increase. Let's take a look at the event tech space as it exists today. There are around 19 distinct subcategories in the space, from all-in-one platforms to ticketing softwares, event management softwares to virtual offices and communities. But there is one subcategory that is now trending up, both in adoption and systemic scaling. That is language tech for events. And that's what we are here to talk about. While all of these tech solutions have the potential to make your next event reach a global audience, attendees can join in from any geolocation in the world, but language is still a barrier. The growth of attendees is limited as a result. Traditional simultaneous interpreting, while it is a solution for the content language barrier, it still requires interpreters to be present on site and listeners to have portable infrared radio receivers and headphones. Realistically, it's not fit for the purpose in 21st century. The actual interpretation delivered through the use of cumbersome professional equipment like soundproof booths, infrared transmitters, microphone consoles, and other logistic costs is a huge drawback. And on top of that, a traditional setup is not compatible with the new virtual and hybrid event environments. We think RSI is the answer. You can reduce your equipment and logistics costs by up to 70%. You can hire interpreters with subject matter expertise. You can add interpretation to your online on-ground and hybrid events. And you don't have to rely on outdated tech with all its limitations. Well, let's take a look at how RSI works. Things are actually pretty simple. Presenters and interpreters and audience members can join anywhere from the world using their mobile phones, laptops, and even professional presentation setups if that's needed. Interpreters listen to the presentation via audio video stream they receive in their dashboard and simultaneously interpret it for the audience. The audience members simply scan a QR code or go to the event interpretation link, or even just with our API integration with tools like Microsoft Teams, simply choose the language directly in the UI UX. Well, maybe it's a little easier to understand with a quick demonstration. So for example, we are at this event in MS Teams, but it could be another software like Zoom or Google Meet. What simply an attendee would do is go on to Google Meet, mute the site, and then click on the link that is provided by the organizer. Our link on another tab will open up. They choose the language as you have previously done in MS Teams, and just click the button turn on, and they would start to hear any language that has been previously organized by the event organizer. It's a really easy interface. And just to remind you guys, as I showed you before, on a tool like MS Teams, you can simply click on uh, the icon, which is already integrated into the user experience, user interface. You choose the language that you want, and instantly your the language for attendees changes and they start hearing the language that has been offered. We also offer application, like mobile application interface for some clients who require a bit more security. And also we offer white labeling. Just allow it to load. Yeah, we also offer white labeling. So as you can see, where interpreting by Translit can be removed, and you can obviously have your own logos, your client's logos, and the details of the meeting. So let me quickly show you how the interpreter booth works. I will log in as an interpreter on the link provided to me by the event organizer. And here I will also join in as Kushal too, just to give you guys a clear understanding of how the process works. So as you can imagine, so yeah, here we are. We have designed the user experience and interface of this tool to reflect um, the traditional booth setup, because interpreters need to have, in that taxing environment, a very simple, easy to understand interface which doesn't confuse them. Technology should not be a barrier. Here in these two boxes, the interpreters can see each other because two partners. They have the ability to communicate with audio and video internal channels. And here in the two boxes below, a tech support or a project manager or even a client can join in to observe. Secondly, what we have also done is we have hard coded a handover process. And it simply works like this. So I'm an interpreter one, and I am on air, and I am tired and I want to pass over the handover. So I can just inform my colleague to take please. My colleague on the other side will receive this offer, and he would say, I'm ready, for example. So interpreter one would then initiate the handover. So what will the second interpreter see? The second interpreter's button also starts flashing, and he has to accept the handover. So once he clicks on accept or reject the handover, let's say he decides to accept the handover, it takes about 5 seconds countdown timer to start and the on-air button to switch over to the second interpreter, which is the second interpreter here. So that's essentially how it works. So there is no way that two interpreters can be by mistakenly on air at the same time. Furthermore, we have also provided a relay function. For example, for a exotic language, let's say in this case, we have French, Italian, and let's say Spanish. So in this case, I am the French to English interpreter, and I have a colleague who is a English to Italian interpreter. But the event is happening in French. The presenter is French, but the audience is Italian who do not understand French. The way it would set up is that me as a French interpreter would join in into the French and English booth, and I would switch over to English because I am now receiving the content in French. I would switch over to English, and on the other side, let's say this is another booth, my colleague would then choose the French language as the incoming language. So instead of the floor, my colleague will have to choose the French language as the incoming language. And then here, obviously, that colleague would choose, he would have a different option because he's in a different booth. He would have the Italian as an option, English to Italian. So, oh, I apologize. He would choose the English language as the incoming language and then choose Italian language as the outgoing language. So simply what is happening is French from the stage or the presentation is being translated by one interpreter into English, and the other interpreter pair is taking that English translation and interpreting into French, Italian, so that the audience members are able to hear like this. I apologize if I caused a little bit confusion, but just to reiterate, French to English, English to Italian, that's how the relay function works. All right, just quickly going back to the presentation. Oh yeah, I would also like to give you a demonstration of how on-ground attendees can simply choose to hear the event, right? So if you guys can simply scan this QR code from your mobile apps, mobile cameras, and a widget will open. Basically scan it, then there will be a link that you would click to open in browser. A widget will open. You have to just like this, for example, you will have to choose the language, choose any one of the languages, and click on the turn on button. You can also play with the volume control just to see if it works. And that's how essentially, I believe if you guys have already followed this, the steps, you would understand, you will be able to hear me, or actually the interpretation of the event from your mobile phones. So yeah, just a reminder, scan it with your mobile phone camera and choose the language, select, obviously, click the link to open, choose the language and click turn on button, and you'll be able to hear interpretation of this event happening in real time. All right. Okay, so I want to talk about the benefits of using an event tech solution to for a multilingual platform event. Okay, so there are four main benefits that make RSI essential. It's much more cost effective to use a cloud-based tool. You don't have to fly interpreters; they work remotely instead. You also avoid to spend on their accommodations, and they're also likely to charge per day cost rather than half day cost, for example, if you don't use RSI. You also avoid the costs associated with renting the cumbersome equipment, setup costs, soundproof booths, etc. Okay. Second benefit is that you can scale your event as big as you want. There are no limits with RSI. We have done an event where there were 15,000 multilingual attendees that accessed four different languages all at the same time. So accessing any language and growing your audiences exponentially can, because we again can deliver up to 200 languages for events that are required, and events can be scaled to up to 50,000 listeners, even more. Um, you also get a choice of wider range of interpreters to choose from, finding experts in the field that may be living on the other side of the world. And RSI is much safer with the possibility of added security, and you avoid getting your event content leaked. So what kind of safety are we talking about? Because based on our research, we understand safety is very important for event organizers and event managers. So our platform is hosted on Amazon servers based in Europe. So obviously we have to follow strict protocols according to European law, and we we use world-leading cloud-based servers, RTC servers that provide 128-bit encryption. It's the highest in the industry standard. We sign confidentiality agreements and NDAs with all our interpreters. We are ISO 901 and ISO 17100 certified. Our interpreters also go through our ISO training before every assignment. Furthermore, we only use ATA or AIIC conference interpreters who are native speakers and expert in the subject matter being discussed. Our event rooms are encrypted and password secure. Moreover, we can also limit the number of attendees who can access the interpretation upon the client's request. The event rooms also have an end date, so the event rooms cannot be accessed after the fact the event is over. And we also do not record meetings or interpretation without specific request from the client, without client's explicit request. And since we are platform agnostic, as I showed you, RSI obviously can work with all types of events, virtual, on-site, and even hybrid events. So why choose Translit as your language partner? We have over 12 years of experience in the language industry and 8 years in the MICE industry. We have worked with hundreds of event organizers and fine-tuned our offering to suit yours. Our technology has just been updated to include the likes of white labeling, allowing to use your own brand logo alongside the recording function. And you also get a choice of over 60,000 certified interpreters and translators worldwide through Translit RSI. You get to choose the expert in your chosen field of subject, who are not only experts in the language you choose, but actual subject matter experts who understand the content and are able to explain the content way better than just someone who understands the language. All right, so what have you achieved up till now? How do you know that we can help you? We have served over 1 million minutes of interpreting and covered over 250 events since our product was launched in beta mode last year. Our recent updates mean that Translit RSI is much bigger and better. And we are working with some of the big names across the industry spectrum. And with that, we come to an end of this webinar. I hope it was all clear how the next big growth in virtual and hybrid events will be fueled with event tech solutions, which tackle the content language barrier to make your events truly global. As I have said before, you can reach out to us at translit@rsi.com if you have any questions or any future multilingual events that you want to use Translit RSI for. It was a pleasure to have you all here, and I wish you a very good day.